South of midnight, guys. We got to talk about it because there's some stuff going on in the industry, man. Xbox in 2025 looking lit. What's going on, you guys? Gaming out here, coming at you with another video. You know, we're going to be talking about South of midnight, but we're also going to be talking about just Xbox in 2025 in general. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I feel like they are setting themselves up to have a phenomenal year in 2025. What am I talking about? There's a few things that's in place. What's interesting right now is let's talk about just games in general. Then we'll really go into what I want to talk about South of Midnight. But, you know, Avowed, you got just the regular games as a service stuff they're going to drop periodically through next year. Fable. There's a potential Gears or Halo that could come out next year. Maybe even new hardware. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, is going on. You know, I've said for a long time that Xbox isn't necessarily in the issue of games. They're in the issue of like their messaging. That's the biggest issue I have with them, because to me, you know, I knew that they were going to get this type of, you know, flux of games, and there was going to have games coming out pretty regularly. I was just hoping that these games would help push the hardware and not maybe necessarily the ecosystem in general. Obviously, it's going to push the ecosystem. But, you know, I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm like, man, Xbox is going to have a crazy 2025. Avowed at the beginning of the year. Fable at the end of the year. We're probably going to get more stuff just in terms of announcements in general, like a Perfect Dark. Game Pass all next year. You know, Game Pass seemed to have done really good this year when it comes to Call of Duty. You know, there is a huge influx of people that's buying Xboxes right now. Now I'm very curious to see exactly how much they sell in the long term when it comes to that. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, next year looking like my year. You know, and then you got Indiana Jones at the end of the year. You know, I think they should have probably delayed that to the beginning of next year. You know, just get away from that December date. I feel like you put games in December, you ain't really feeling. And I don't feel like it's not necessarily they don't have faith in Indiana Jones. I think it's one of those games where it's just like Microsoft has so much content that they want to drop next year that there's not a lot of places to put them, so they have to put them in December, or it's going to get, you know, attacked by Avowed, or, you know, South of Midnight, Fable. You probably get a Forza Horizon next year. Like, if you don't put it out this year, when are you realistically going to put it out? And I think that is one of the biggest bulk of questions when it comes to this. But let's talk about South of Midnight. Now, there is a couple things that I want to bring up when it comes to South of Midnight. Ironically, here recently, a lot of stuff has been going on with South of Midnight. So as you can see here, you know, Colobro, he has posted that there's going to be some more announcements when it comes to November the 12th. So in a couple days, we're going to have a documentary on South of Midnight. There's influencers I've seen that's been posting pictures of them at the studio right now. So clearly there's going to be some form of gameplay or something. There's a lot of stuff going on with South of Midnight. There's a lot of stuff going on with South of Midnight. So like that just shows me, it's like, look, this sucker coming out soon. Like, this sucker is coming out soon. This year in the June showcase, South of Midnight by far looked the best to me. I really enjoyed from the artwork to the animations to the story they were building. There was so much good qualities and so much, you know, artistic points when it comes to South of Midnight. Now I understand they have like that like weird frame rate stuff with the actual cinematics of the game. I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like, you know, you should give me the option if I want to play that game and, you know, what appears to be a lower frame rate just because it's the way the game was initially described. You know, I'm probably going to put gameplay up at the background. You know, as you could see during the actual gameplay, it looked like it ran relatively well. Like, I could definitely feel, just looking at the screen, that was a 60 frames type of gameplay. But at the end of the day, you know, when it comes down to South of Midnight, people's biggest question is, When's that sucker coming out? When is South at Midnight coming out, man? And I've been covering this industry, 10 years almost. It's been a minute. I've been doing this a long time. Normally when I see people doing these events where they're being flown out to look at the game, it's not too much longer before the game comes out. I don't know when the game's going to come out, like realistically. I don't know. But one thing I will tell you guys, from my experience in the industry, I'd expect this around March. And the reason I think that is because they're doing these showcases. So I assume that maybe 2 weeks to a month, that's when the NDA's up. Normally when you do stuff like that and you're showing people gameplay, or I mean, none of the influencers said that they were playing gameplay or anything, but I assume if you're flying people out, I think I saw Montreal, I don't know if that's exactly where they went, they're playing gameplay. To me, there's no way you put that kind of money out just to show them like a cinematic of the game itself. To me, they're playing gameplay. And I think when it comes down to that, if you have a significant amount of gameplay to show people in these kind of showcases, you're also doing, other showcases at the same time. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. To me, that shows that this game is cooking. It's almost ready. You're almost about to feast, man. This game is ready for people to entertain it. Like I said, March. Look, South of Midnight looks phenomenal. I really enjoy what I saw of it. I'm hoping that when it comes down to this game in the long term of things, that Xbox does a good job at marketing this game. Because of what happened with Redfall, I didn't like the way that they necessarily did the Redfall gameplay of this. I felt like it was a little bit disingenuous. And what I mean by that is, like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, Redfall came out there, they got a bunch of influencers and stuff, and they showed them kind of a perspective of the game. It's kind of like a vertical slice. Like, some of the gameplay I saw in those vertical slices, like, when you actually went there in the actual game, it wasn't there. So to me, we don't need to encourage that kind of behavior. I hope they don't do that going forward. I hope they learn their lesson on this. Now, this is Xbox Game Studios. This isn't necessarily, Bethesda. And I don't know if that's like a Bethesda thing. I think more companies do stuff like that than they let on. I think we just recently saw it with the games that's coming out here recently, especially like Dragon Age. It's kind of like a vertical slice, not necessarily like straight up lying, but they're putting you in the best scenario to enjoy the most of that you possibly can. And I think that's generally how you see things. Like, look, South of Midnight is a phenomenal game that I think is going to review well. I think, it's a smaller title. Hopefully these reviewers don't act like this is like some AAA thing. And I'm really hoping that Coalition, they're able to prove themselves, and we see them get more opportunities to really wow us in the future. Look, at the end of the day, I enjoy the Xbox platform. I enjoy the games coming out. Next year, we got Avowed, Fable. Those two games by themselves would make me really want to play them. You guys know how I am with Fable. I'm going to make more content on Fable as we get closer to the Fable release date, or maybe even just some Fable news. I'll drop some videos on Fable. Just exactly what I want from a new Fable. But Compulsion, South of Midnight, man, it was the June showcase game. To me, it was the most impressive game during that June showcase. Maybe not by far, but it looked really good. I would say Perfect Dark looked really good too. Xbox got some games. Whether or not I agree or disagree with like their hardware, ambitions and the future that they're putting the company and the direction they're going, I can't deny that they don't got games. And I feel like that on top of with Game Pass in general, it's hard to complain about not playing games, but when it's dry spells, they're trying to get more of those like popular indie games there into Game Pass day and date. When you're constantly being able to play games from month to month, that's why you don't see the Xbox people necessarily complaining as much when it comes to first party stuff. This year was a little light on first party stuff. I'm not going to lie. It was a little light. But between third party, between Game Pass, and let's be honest, playing on other platforms, gaming in general was good. So, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm very curious your guys' opinion on this. Like I said, south of midnight. I'm calling it. March, April. I think this is going to come out right before the June showcase. When we have this Xbox Direct in January, I think that's when they're going to tell you the release date, and it's going to be very early in the year. Probably like 2 or 3 months after Avowed. March or April. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know for a fact. That's just my educated opinion. I think it's the first 6 months of the year. That's just my guess, though. But anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm very, blessed that you guys have been really supporting me here lately. At the end of the day, I just make content I enjoy. And if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. We make weekly content over here. Sometimes you guys might enjoy it. Sometimes you guys might not. Sometimes you guys disagree or agree with me when it comes to my opinion. But I'm going to still spill my opinion. It's just you guys got to understand that me and you are different people. We're going to believe in different things. But when you put all that in the comment section below, I'm very curious your guys' opinion on that. Follow me on Twitter, Lord Addict ILP, Addict Arena. All that's in the description below. Just pretty much telling you exactly, I stream over there. I'm probably going to stream UPS Simulator Death Stranding today. But I appreciate you for coming through. Until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Man, I hope Compulsion comes out like March, April. That would be phenomenal. 2 months, Avowed, straight into Compulsion. That would be great.